I'm kind of worried about Pixar, and I'll tell you why. You know, John Lasseter got caught up in that Me Too craziness.
Man, so many people are going down.
And that guy's a genius. That guy's he's been, in fact, he's been the creative force behind Pixar and Disney Animated Studios, because he went ahead, because they have two animation departments.
Well,
Disney.
they merged for a minute, then they split back up.
Well, because I think when Pixar got bought out, because Pixar was owned by Steve Jobs.
Right. Yeah. You know, a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, he sold it to them, and one of the agreements they had to make when they bought it was that they would keep the Pixar name. But Disney already had an animation studio, because a lot of people think Wreck-It Ralph is a Pixar movie, but it's not. It's a Disney.
Disney animation.
But the reason it feels like a Pixar movie is because Lasseter is the head of. I think he might be head of both studios. So they kind of got around that whole, division between Pixar and Disney by having him rove between both companies. But now he's leaving, I think by the end of the year, because he got caught up in the Me Too. A lot of women came forward saying he was really touchy-feely.
You guys, you got to learn from this stuff, man.
It's scary.
Don't tell me no lies and keep your hands to yourself.
Keep your hands to yourself. Don't even hug a woman who's not your wife.
You'll be like, just wave across the room.
Because some of these guys getting caught up in this thing, they just have one accusation lodged against them, not even by somebody they work with. Like not too long ago, Chris Hardwick. He's that host of Talking Dead.
Right.
He got caught up. This old girlfriend just came out and said, well, one of my old boyfriends abused. She never did say his name. She just said one of my old boyfriends abused, and he used to be a big. And she said all these things he used to do to make it obvious who she was talking about. And he came out and said,
and unfortunately, in the struggle to bring this stuff to light, because it's obvious that it was out of control in Hollywood.
It was out of control.
In the entertainment period, because it didn't just affect Hollywood, it affected the NFL.
I mean, you had a predator like Bill Cosby doing this. I mean, forget about Harvey Weinstein, who did it maybe the past
he was
two different.
A predator.
Bill Cosby did it for probably 40 years or something.
Yep, and somebody as wholesome as Bill Cosby, and it's pretty daggum obvious that he was drugging these women, and I mean, he was found guilty, so that.
I mean, he had like 50-something women accuse him, but it's gotten to a point where just being accused
is enough
to ruin you. And a couple people have been falsely accused. George Takei being the most prominent example. He got accused by this guy who said he was over at his house.
Oh, I was about to say, isn't he?
And he was diddled with.
Isn't he gay? Because I thought you were going to say a woman accused him.
No, the guy that accused him, and then the guy. I guess he got a feeling that he was about to get sued, and he kind of backtracked on his allegations. So
that's what I say. The downside to justice being done for the women that were actually abused and mistreated.
Women are being abused, and you want to believe all the accusers, but it's very easy for some ex-girlfriend who's mad about breaking up with you. All she has to do is say, "Oh well," and this is what this woman who accused Chris Hardwick, she pretty much said, there was a couple of times where I really didn't want to have sex, and I let him have sex with me, and she considers it sexual assault. Now, is that really sexual assault?
Well, I'm not going to get into that argument.
That's a very deep, because there's a lot of times, we're both married.
Right.
There are times where your wife might not totally be in the mood.
Right.
But is it sexual assault if you convince her? Because one of the things they've said in this movement with Aziz Ansari is, Coercion is not consent, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So if you convince a woman to sleep with you, that's somehow still wrong.
Did he get caught up in that too?
Yeah, he got caught this, and he, like I said, there are situations. This is not somebody he worked with. This is some woman he went on a date with. He went back to his apartment, and she did some sexual things, but then it got to a point where I don't know if it's appropriate for us to discuss some of the ins and outs of what happened, but it got to a point where they were going to have intercourse and she didn't want to do it. And he was just pressuring her. I don't know if he was pressuring her, but, you know, she kind of felt, she had this thing where she says, well, you ignored some of my nonverbal cues. And a lot of people were like, nonverbal cues? You want men to be mind readers now? I mean, that was a big... It was very, very...
It'd be helpful if we could become mind readers, but...
I mean, that's pretty much her major thing, was that he had missed these nonverbal cues, that she did not want to have sex.
And that's where the media, the trial by media is a dangerous thing. And the lawmakers... and the ones that, you know, sit in juries for things like this, and that's a tough job, man. I wouldn't want to have it, you know, because you have to draw a line somewhere.
So many of these allegations, they never make it to the courtroom, though,
because they get paid off. Because most people don't.
I mean,
you know,
but I don't necessarily know if, like I said, there's accused of Chris Hardwick. I forget her name, and maybe that looks bad on my part, but he went on. They like broke up like 3 years ago, I think. He went on to have greater and greater success, and she didn't. She was like a Comic-Con cosplayer or something, and she accuses him of railroading her career. That's another one of the accusations he made against him.
That sounds like motive to try and destroy him.
Right, but he not only did his career get better, because he has The Talking Dead, he has another show, I think, that was coming out on Netflix. He had all these development deals in works. And he got married to another woman. He actually married Patty Hearst's daughter. So he married the daughter of a billionaire. So he went on to greater and greater things, and she didn't. So is that motive to... And he recently released text messages from her that she sent him 7 months after they broke up. And she wanted to come back to him. Even though she said he was very controlling and had all these rules in the relationship, she wants to come back to it. And of course, you know, the feminists or whatever say, well, women who are abused, they actually, you know, a lot of them want to come back to their abusers. Wow. I mean, after 7 months, though, I don't know. I'm not an expert on this.
I'm not an expert either, and I don't want to dig into that because I don't know enough about it to speak to, you know.
But get back to John Lasseter. I've read some of he's had accusations made against him by more than one woman. So I'm not saying that's true in his case. But he did get caught up in this.
And he's of that generation, too, where they, you know, felt that they were the dominant male.
Let's just say he's probably, he's from that, I don't know if he's that old, but he's of that Mad Men generation.
Yeah, you know, and it's like Jerry Richardson, you know, all of his accusers that come forward and said that he was doing a lot of things wrong. And, you know, again, he's the man of that age where, you know, men were the bosses and the controllers, and the women had their roles were to serve the men, even in business, you know. Right. And I mean, luckily now that's not the case. Women are becoming stronger and getting, you know, higher positions in companies and stuff. But back then, that was very common to, you know. You can go back and watch television from the 70s and see it's very obvious that
Yeah.
go get me coffee type mentality.
I remember seeing a James Bond movie. It was Dr. No. He did something in that movie. James Bond, Sean Connery. He did something that probably could be considered rape today, in that he makes this woman have sex with him.
In the movie, it was fully acceptable.
He's like sitting on a bed, and he has his hand on her back, and she says, "Is your hand on my back?" He was like, "Yeah." And he pretty much forces her to have sex. I was like, really? That would be considered rape.
Absolutely.
What he does in that movie. But it was a different time then,
It was a different time, and women are just stronger and more aware, and that's a good thing, because we have daughters, and we want to know that they're going to grow into women that are in full control of their lives. So seeing it from that aspect, where you don't want to see your daughters being dominated by anyone.
Yeah.
You want them to know that they're strong and powerful, and they control their own destinies. So, but as far as that relates to The Incredibles 2,
John Lasseter. Well, I was just pointing out that John Lasseter is out at Pixar. So
right, because of that, for those reasons, I hope that if he's guilty, I hope justice is served. But I think that he just like anybody else deserves his day in court, and has the right to fight for his innocence. And if he's innocent, it'll come out. If he's not, then he'll pay the price.
Yeah.
And hopefully Pixar doesn't suffer in the process. Hopefully he's hired a bunch of people that can carry on Pixar's work.
Brad Bird is one of them, so I think we'll get another good Incredibles movie.